All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Cocktails and Connections podcast. We have our special guest today. It's Robert Bagley. Robert, go ahead and tell us a little about yourself.
Well, sure. I'm an authorpreneur. I started writing books probably 12 years ago now. We're in 2026. And basically really started writing after I graduated my master's degree in seminary. I went to Northeastern Seminary and thought I was going to have a pulpit ministry after I graduated seminary, but I ended up staying in the marketplace. That's where God has had me. And so in the marketplace, I've mostly been in outside sales in the interior space of flooring, furniture, fabrics, fixtures. I started as a water and fire damage restoration company as an entrepreneur. And so I've always had that entrepreneurial flair alongside of a corporate job. And in corporate America, I moved after I sold my water and fire damage business. I went and worked for the big carpet manufacturer, Shaw, Mohawk, Beaulieu, and all in outside sales. And I just moved up in the ranks and started managing salespeople and then managing the sales managers. So that's a little bit about me. We can drill down on any of that if you want.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
We can't forget the cocktail. Or mocktail for today.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's
so
so thoughtful of you.
since you don't drink, we're going to do a mocktail today.
Yes, yeah. I stopped drinking on July 11th, 1999. It was really a faith decision. We'll probably get into that, but so I do appreciate when people honor that, right? And so thank you. That's very thoughtful of you. And now, as we network, because we're all out networking together, and you guys are really doing an awesome job with your networking. It's so refreshing because I think I was at like Ace Cafe in Sanford last week at a big networking event, and they had a Guinness non-alcoholic beer, and I really like those. They're awesome, right?
The gin that you drink, they have a non-alcoholic one now too.
Yeah, Empress Gin has a non-alcoholic gin.
So what are you making exactly?
So I'm making a pomegranate spritz.
So what is that? Like what do you, like if someone was listening, what would they be putting into it?
So they're just putting in club soda,
Okay.
lime juice, a little bit of simple syrup, some pomegranate juice, and that's about it. We just stir
And you
it.
are a student of mixology, aren't you?
Kinda, sorta. I'm just an alcoholic, that's all.
Okay, but you still, like, I know you like to take classes and stuff on mixology, right?
Yep.
You're always learning the craft. Oh, that's great. Now, see, that would be great. That I can ask for that maybe when I go out. If they have the pomegranate, right?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
All
That's
right.
amazing.
So, how did you become so much of a networker, I should say?
Because you're not from here.
I am not, no. And you're not from
I'm not here either.
Right, yeah, that's probably why, right? First of all, let me just say, and I think you guys have found this to be true, that, and I have lived in New York, San Francisco, Atlanta, here, in New Jersey, Ohio. Orlando is something special when it comes to networking. Like, you don't even have to be a good networker. You just throw yourself into Orlando and just, like, you
You'll find people.
Right, like, get the Meetup app, right? Get the Everbright app. And, is that what it's called?
Eventbrite.
Eventbrite, thank you. Yeah, I knew I was saying that wrong. But I mean, if
There's
you're...
so many events and
Right.
opportunities to meet people.
And I mean, I was an extrovert to begin with, right? So then you put me into Orlando and it's like, oh, that's scary, right? And so that's, my bachelor's degree, speaking of my education, is in interpersonal and public communications, right? I took classes on assertiveness and I took theater classes, right? So
lots of practice in that.
yes, right? I'm demonstrative to begin with, and then, get me in a social setting and I'm into another world. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
Nice. Yes.
Kind of, sort of.
Yes, yeah. So my next question was networking always natural for you, or was it?
Well, if you're
something you
outgoing,
acquired?
probably.
Well, yeah, look, anyone who says they've got it down and they're never, or they've arrived at, networking nirvana, they're probably lying, right? Because it depends on the events you're going to. I mean, you go into a room with 500 people, that's like overwhelming. You got to really understand, who you want to talk to,
Right.
and it's hard to work a room like that. But so it really depends. And as far as just always, it does come natural to me, right? So, but I do get not nervous, but just there's some times where I'm not comfortable. And now as I'm maturing in my networking here in this city, that's a different dynamic too, right? Because a lot of people know me. It's not like I have to walk into a room and have to work it now, because I've been doing this here in Orlando for years now. And so my strategy really is just walk in the room, kind of set myself somewhere, stationary for a while, see who I, might know or not know. And I still get to meet new people that way. And then of course people who know me come to me. I used to always be like, hey, can we get a picture? Can you get a picture? I'm almost never doing that anymore. Okay.
I feel like a lot of people, they also want their privacy. Like they don't want everything they're doing on display. And if you are taking pictures with people that might not be aligned with your goals, but you don't know them, you just met them.
That's a good point.
And you're sharing like, why are you with this person? So I just feel like people like their privacy.
True. Yeah. Or can I post this? You can always ask the question, but a lot of people don't ask that question.
Nothing.
So, and it's what's interesting is, when I was outgoing enough to go, hey, can you take a picture of me with all these people? And now that I'm not doing that, I'm kind of curious, like how many people are actually wanting me in their picture. So that's kind of fun to see, because there's some events that I'll go into the social media post after the event. I'm not in there anywhere, right? And then the opposite is true. Hey, Robert's here. Can you get a picture with us? Anyway.
Okay, nice. Was there a specific moment that you realized that connections were going to be a big part of your life and a big part of your business?
Oh, that's a great question. If someone were to ask me what my superpower is, it is definitely connecting, right? And I know we'll probably get into my authorship and publishing a little bit. Everything I've done in publishing has been connecting, whether I'm connecting an author to a publisher, whether I'm connecting a narrator to an author, right? And so even in my sales career, I've been a connector, and that's where I want to help other people connect, right? Now that I have a big following on LinkedIn, I'll see things that people need, and I'll go, hey, I'll repost that for you, and I'll connect, right? So Brian Jones running now for a seat in the Orange County Commission. He needed someone to cut a video. He didn't have a lot of funds. I put that on my feed. We got somebody to offer that in kind to him. So stuff like that I love doing as a connector, right?
Right, nice.
And I don't know if I just realized, hey, today, you know what, I'm a good connector. It's a kind of evolved over time, and now I'm still trying to refine that craft, if you will. Right. Because it is. It's a craft, right? And to be good at it, every week I should be sending emails connecting people, right? Hey, introducing. If I'm not doing 2, 3, 4 of those connecting emails with connecting some of my new connections with my existing connections, and 2 days ago I just connected 2 people I met in the same day.
Sometimes you meet people that they should just know each other.
They should know each other, right? They were 2 Brazilian ladies. I met one during the day at a trade show. Then I went to a networking event and met another Brazilian lady, and I connected the 2, and now they're connected.
That's awesome.
Right? So
nice.
Yeah.
So one thing we really love and appreciate about you is you're very faith forward, and you're not afraid of faith. And I feel like a lot of people are nowadays. They just don't talk about it. So how has faith impacted your role in your life?
Sure. When I was called to go to seminary, again, I thought, I'm going to graduate seminary, I'm going to get a church, have a pulpit ministry, right, and be a senior pastor. And then God had another plan. He's like, no, I'm keeping you in the marketplace, because I think I can use you more there than I can in the church, although I did end up being a lay pastor and have been ordained and about ready to get ordained again. And, I've always been on the premise of live your faith, right? And then share with words if necessary. Right? So I'm never the one to start the faith conversation. And it's funny because people know that I'm a man of faith, but I never tell anybody. Did I ever tell you I was a man of faith?
I think you told me when you wrote a book.
Right.
That it was because of...
that kind of gives it away, right? Totally gives it away, yeah.
You're very committed.
Right. But before writing the books, it was... I would people would talk about faith, but oh, okay. So and then it's just kind of evolved. And I don't know what the original question was. Bill, remind me.
It was how has your faith helped build your relationships?
Oh, okay. Well, I just think it's who I am. It's part of my fabric, and I've always said when I graduated seminary with a Master's of Art in Theology that it was just part of my DNA, right? And so everything I did was to love the Lord and love other people, right? I mean, that's basically what the two most important commandments Jesus said you can hang on is that. So, yeah.
Okay, nice. So I guess piggybacking onto that is how do you stay true to your beliefs without making people feel uncomfortable?
Right, and as I was saying, I rarely will be the one leading with that. Yeah. Now, again, if I say I'm an author, they go, "What do you write on?" So, but hey, look, I have 3 or 4 books that are all on personal and professional development.
Right.
I mean, and faith is rarely really even mentioned in those books, but it's kind of woven in, if you will, right? Because I'm a big believer in spiritual formation, and so yeah, no, I really haven't had much friction with my faith, just because I really.
Well, I feel like it helps align you with who you need to be aligned with, and it'll repel who's not.
Okay.
Who it's not aligned with.
I like that. Yeah. And look, I'm still learning, and I wrote a book with Eric Deckers on personal branding. And, I mean, we all have our personal brands, right? And you guys have great personal brands, and I love it. And so part of my personal brand is I have a faith element, I have a entrepreneur element, I have an author element, I have a corporate element, and so there's so many different elements. And I think if you have a good foundation, and I'm a big believer in devotion, having a strong devotional life, like I try to get the Word of God in me a lot through reading, through listening to the Bible. I think fellowship in a small group is really important. Having a good church is really important. And my kids now, they're 24 and 22, and there's 2 places I took them, the gym and the church. And my youngest daughter is a absolute rock star in the gym. She's got 1.1 million followers on Instagram and 2.1 million followers on TikTok.
A lot of people.
And she does fitness, food, fashion, and faith, right? And so, yeah.
Very cool. So how do you think faith changes the intent of networking?
It's honestly, I don't think it should change the intent.
Or just
that's a provocative question. I want to drill down on that. We could have a whole podcast on that. Rephrase the question. Like, what do you want? What do you want to know about that? Because that is a great.
So how?
Deep question.
I feel like faith. Since you are such a huge connector, you go in with that attitude, not what am I going to get out of this event or these people, and how can I help? How can I connect?
Yeah.
I feel like that's the angle you come in at, and I feel like that's shown because so many people come to you and appreciate you and ask you for help or ask you to connect to people.
Yeah. I think that, okay, so right, it's really servant leadership, right? Mm-hmm. Jesus said, I came here to serve. I didn't come to, lay down the law. I came to fulfill the law, and I came to serve, right? And as my disciples, you will serve too, right? Right. And he who's the least in the kingdom, he who's the greatest in the kingdom is the one who is, the first shall be last, the last will be first. And so he washed everyone's feet and said, this is what you should do. Right. And they're, okay, that's a tough pill to swallow, Lord, But servant leadership, I'm here to help. Right? Everything I do, I know you guys are involved with the Citrus Club, and I love that you're there, and I've enjoyed your presence there, and you guys have made a great impact. Everything I do there is for that intent, is culminate that club to be a place where we can help each other. And, it's not all about, can I get business from you? Right. You know what I mean? Right. That should come naturally.
Right. But it's the relationships, it's the people.
Right, yeah. Exactly, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move back to a bit on networking. What do you think most people get wrong when they hear the word networking?
Oh, wow. Well, I think that's really the bridge question to what we were getting at, is they think that they're going to network so that they can get something out of it.
Immediately, too, right?
Immediately.
And I'm like, that doesn't work like that.
Man, I've been to networking events, people have shoved their card in my face, and I've been guilty of that. Okay, I've been guilty of it, and in certain instances still.
Sometimes it's helpful. If you need a roofer, you need somebody immediately, you know.
Absolutely,
sometimes, yeah.
absolutely. But to answer your question, I think they come with the wrong motivation, the wrong intention, and they'll learn quickly. And if they don't, then they're going to be a repellent when they walk in the room. And I want people to go, "Oh, great, Robert's here." I don't want them to go, "Oh, Robert's here." Right? And I mean, some of them probably still do, right? But I'm not going to please everybody,
right,
Karen. I'm just not.
Right.
And neither are you. And neither are you.
No, definitely not.
Right? So you just got to be yourself. And if you can be yourself and you're authentic, that's going to shine.
So if you walk into a room full of strangers, what is I guess you kind of touched on that, like depending on the event,
Sure,
how you kind of show up.
Yes, well, I'm now with the events I'm going to are really different this year, and that's a good thing, right? Because I'm hanging out more with like property managers and apartment people, and they have their own trade associations.
There's a whole other world.
A whole other world.
There's so many people.
Right, and I'm like walking in, I'm like, I don't know anybody here, and I'm
it's
like,
kind of exciting, isn't it?
Oh, this is so refreshing. Not that I don't enjoy seeing people that I know, but and of course we all know Caleb Paul, and I give him a pass. Like, when I walk in a room, you don't have to talk to me. We can just exchange niceties, and same with you guys, and move on. Because you're there to network. You're there to get things done. Mm-hmm. We will have our side conversations. That's what's nice about the Citrus Club is, I could sit down with Caleb for 20 minutes yesterday because he was there, right? And he gave me time. I gave him time, right? And that's where it's nice to have sort of a social club to piggyback off your networking. It's like that's where you can invite people to dinner or lunch. That's where you can see your core group of people that are really going to help you,
especially if everyone's building together. They're building their own things, but separately, but together. I think that synergy helps too.
Okay, I like that. That's really good.
So if someone hates networking, what would you tell them?
Well, if you hate it, then don't do it. But look, life's too long.
But sometimes I feel like you're in a sales position.
That's where I was going. But I want to stop and pause there for a second because, if you don't like what you're doing, stop it. Because life's too long to be doing something you don't want to be doing. Everybody says life's too short. Life's too long to be doing something you don't want to be doing. Find something you love doing and you're passionate about doing it, and it'll culminate into something special. Now, if you hate doing it, but you have to do it, then you need to probably read this book here called The 10 Commandments of Strategic Networking, because it was written for people that kind of have to do it, right? And so I would just say do it. It's just like anything else. Like if you've never been to the gym, you go to the gym, so it's so wonky, right? Well, get a fitness trainer, get a coach, right? Yep. My first couple books, I had coaches walking me through the whole process.
Because they could just help you figure it out faster,
100%. I don't want to reinvent the wheel from scratch on things.
So I guess segue into you're an author as well. So what books do you write? How do you write them? And who do you write with? And
loaded question, right? Because every book has been different, right? Okay. So I started off by just taking my master's thesis from theology from seminary, because it was a well-cited, well-researched document, and so I'm like, well, try that and put it up on Kindle. Okay, cool. In Kindle, the KDP, they call it, Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP. It's so intuitive, right? So you go, okay, upload the Word document. Okay, you want a cover, or do you have a cover? We'll make you a cover. Okay, boom. Right? Oh, do you want it in paperback? Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, what are the dimensions? Blah, blah, blah. You want a spine? Blah, blah, blah. How many pages is it? Right?
And it prints on demand, right?
And it prints on demand, right? See, I like selling downloads and print on demand.
Right.
Because because those sales happen while I'm sleeping.
Yeah. Well, you're not mailing them out. You're not dealing with
I'm not touching anything. I touch nothing, right? And that's what's beautiful about Ingram, which is another publishing book, and they can marry that with Amazon. But 80% of people who want to buy a book go to Amazon, especially if they're on Prime, because they don't have to pay shipping.
Yep.
So if you're an author, go on Amazon, right? And then they'll go, hey, do you want a hardcover? Yes. Okay, do you have enough pages for a hardcover? Okay. So you kind of learn, and it took me it took me about 6 books before I nailed it. And that was, and that was this one right here. It was the representation of an old ancient Dead Sea Scroll book found in the Qumran caves of Israel back in post-World War II, called the Book of Enoch, which is the most quoted non-canonical,
In the Bible, right?
in the
It's not-
Bible, right? Yeah. It's so book in the New Testament. It's quoted the most in the New Testament as a non-Bible book. Let's just say that. So anyway, in the other books, I was able to then create audiobooks. So that's interesting. 80% of my royalties that come in are audiobooks.
Because people are busy. They're going. They don't say slow down all
Yeah,
the time.
it's like podcasts, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone will listen to a podcast before they do anything else.
Right. So I had done the process 3 times before this. And then in 2016, I felt led to put this into a semi-dramatized audiobook. And it has had over 150,000 downloads since in its different iterations. And so there I just connected with a Christian voice artist named Steve Cook, who ended up doing about 25 more projects with me because he was so good.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was an immediate classic, right? Now it's flooded. There's hundreds of
I'm
Book of
sure.
Enoch audiobooks, but ours had the first mover advantage, and so now it has almost 1,700 4.6 star reviews. So on Audible, it still comes up 10 years later
That's awesome.
as one of the top searches when you put in either Enoch, Book of Enoch, the Book of Enoch, any of the keywords.
Nice. Okay, so you have a bunch of books here, right?
Yeah.
Which one do you think, or which one would you hope that someone picks up?
Well, definitely if you're into biblical studies, this is a fascinating read, and it is what I call this is a right click on Genesis chapter 6. Okay, we won't go into all the theology behind it, but it is so fascinating. And so I would say if you're a Bible buff, get that Book of Enoch from Robert Bagley.
The networking one's super helpful.
Well, that's where I'm going
I
next.
had a girlfriend who moved to South Florida, and I was like, "You need to read this book."
Yeah, it's a mini book, right? I was so inspired by the scene here, the networking scene in Orlando,
Right.
that I was like, I gotta sit down and just capture
Get it out
my
of your
thoughts.
head, yeah.
It was like a timestamp in my networking career, because it was back in I wrote it in 23, and now we're in 26. Feels like yesterday. But yes, and it's just I just put little anecdotes. Of course, I put 10 different strategies, right, in networking, and then I put a little story under each one of 1 or 2 stories of my networking experience. So that's a fun read. It's on, and again, Steve Cook, who did the audiobook for this. And then I'm really fascinated by the Orlando author scene. And the literary presence here of different authors is good. This one's from, I co-wrote this with fellow Citrus Club member Eric Deckers. And this one's on personal branding. Because I did a survey on LinkedIn a couple of years ago on like, what topics are hot? And I threw like 5 of them out. This one came up on the number 1. So I did my own research
Right.
to come up with this book. So this one's called The 10 Commandments of Personal Branding by Eric Deckers and Robert Bagley. And this was fun. It took us, we did this in a pizza house. I can never remember the name of the pizza shop. Lunar Pizza? I think it was anyway. So we would meet at this pizza shop every 4 to 6 weeks and kick out a chapter. So it took us about 18 months to write it, but it's got anecdotes from him and me.
Nice.
And he is a great author. So and then at the Citrus Club, I made connections with people who joined, and one of them was a woman named Sabrina, who I just met at the Citrus Club, and she said, I have an idea for a children's book. Not only do I have an idea, but I actually have it written, and I have an illustrator. And I'm like, well, I have a little publishing company, so we've published 2 of her children's books.
Nice.
You know, and they've got great stories, and it's her in the story, and her name's Sabrina. And we're about to do her 3rd one. I mean, and the illustrations are just absolutely stunning. Yeah. So I like to take people's dream of being an author and help them get that. So because I also help co-found Co-Pilot Publishing, where we help other authors, and we also connect top-selling authors with great narrators to produce top-selling audiobooks.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so next question is, so obviously you're a man of faith, right? So that kind of influenced your Book of Enoch writing. Now, what inspired you to write the other ones, like the networking book or the personal branding book?
Well, I have so much experience to offer, and I have a passion for teaching. One of my corporate jobs was I was a director of sales training for Mohawk, which is the world's largest flooring manufacturer. At the time, they were doing about $8 billion a year. And I was a director of sales training for their commercial division, which had 300 outside sales reps internationally. And so, like, I even traveled to Israel and trained our customers and trained our people. And so, you know, I have a passion for personal and professional development. Personal and professional development books that I have a passion for. Actually, the very, very, very first one I wrote was, the way I got into the whole Amazon scene was while I was working at Mohawk. I started as a FBA reseller out of my basement and was selling underwear, socks, coffee on Amazon. And I got really tired
People
of it.
need those things.
They do. And a lot of paper towels.
Yeah.
This
That
is
takes
back
a lot of space.
yeah. This is back in 2014. And it's before I published anything.
Okay.
And that's how I kind of learned how to put listings on my own on Amazon. I actually learned how to watch the algorithm and look at the rankings. And that really helped me as a publisher. And then I'm like, no more. Then I bought a whole bunch of shoes and just was like, I'm going to be this little Zappos guy. And I had a fulfillment center doing it and all that. And it was just draining me physically, emotionally, financially. And I'm like, let me try.
What was all the inventory?
Yeah, because I was wholesaling it, but I was also doing retail arbitrage where I'd go to Costco and buy tons of stuff and then flip it. You know, so that's
It's almost like the extreme couponing.
a little bit, yeah. Except I wasn't getting the discounts I should have, but I did look for discounts. Like at Christmas time, you could go to Target and buy a whole bunch of, like, at the time I was approved to sell Frozen.
Okay.
Disney Frozen, yeah. And so I was selling Elsa dolls and, you know, Anna dolls and stuff like that. You know, and I was making good margin on them, but you had to be pre-approved to sell that stuff. So that's kind of how I got started publishing, and then I wrote a book on the lessons that I learned, because I actually quit my job and did this full-time out of my basement. Okay. And I had my daughters help me with it too, which is now helped them tremendously, because now they understand how to sell online. My one daughter makes more money than mom and dad selling online now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's what you want. I mean, when your kids are in their 20s, you want them making more money than you.
Yeah.
You know, so I always say my ceiling is their floor.
Nice. Okay, so what's one relationship that changed your life?
Well, meeting my wife. I was not looking. I had just been divorced. She had just been divorced. Neither of us had kids. And, you know, I was getting my hair cut when I had lots of hair. I was getting it, I used to get it colored and stuff. And she was at the same salon where I was doing that. She wasn't my hairstylist, but that's how I met her. And then, you know, she had, talking about faith, neither of us were walking in our faith at all. We were both sort of non-practicing Roman Catholics. And then, you know, we got married, you know, within 5-6 months of meeting, and then, you know, one of her clients invited her to church, and that's when we both gave our hearts to Christ, and you know, and we've never looked back. So I'd have to say it was Larissa is the, you know, outside of meeting the Lord that day with her, that would be the person that influenced me the most. And she's been a rock for our family, both for our kids, but our parents, and, you know, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, what's one daily habit that keeps you grounded?
Devotional time with the Lord, scripture reading, and I use the YouVersion Bible app, so there's all sorts of like videos and audio, and I listen to the Bible in a year chronologically on their audio app, you know, and then you know, I try to get into the gym 3-4 times a week. This week's been tough because I have, you know, I finally got in this morning, thank God. But you know, that's huge.
It helps with the mindset, doesn't it?
It so does, yeah. You know, and we were talking about running, and I know you're a marathoner, and that's awesome. And I didn't even know that till recently. So, and I've known you for a while now, so that's great. I come from a running family, so working out has always been a part of my DNA. No matter what, you know. So I ran cross country in college. I was a captain all 4 years in cross country and track. So I really think that movement is important.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and then last question is going to be, what piece of advice do you have to someone trying to build meaningful relationships today?
Yeah, first of all, I think you really have to figure out what you want to do, right? And have an intent. And then once you have that intent, start asking. In the books that I wrote, we talk about an informational interview. So if there's somebody that you want, like, hey, I want to be a realtor, and so reach out to Amanda and Kieran if you're thinking about being a realtor and interview them. You might get a job out of it, right? Be curious.
Right, ask questions.
Ask questions. Yeah. Be helpful, right? Just don't. Givers gain from BNI, right? You're giving to gain for them and for you, right? So always have that giving attitude. How can I help you? What can I do for you? And oh, by the way, here's some of my needs, because we all have needs, and we can't do it alone. If you want to be successful, I mean, it takes a village. It takes a village to write this book.
Big corporations have a lot of people.
They have a lot of people.
Right.
I mean, I can't tell you how many people are involved. And getting this book in its audiobook format, we've been working with Full Sail and working with a couple of students at Full Sail to do narrating. I mean, it takes a village. Ask for help.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, Robert, thank you for being on the show. Thanks for sharing all your perspectives.
Thank you for having me, and best wishes to your podcast. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you guys are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
All
right, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Wow, you did that in 20 minutes. That's amazing.
I think we're 30, but.
And so while you have it set up, you're doing your next one.
Yes.
That's smart.
So we'll have January and February.